After watching the 50 Cent produced Diddy documentary, did it change how you viewed Suge's role at all? And people alleging that he was involved with Tupac's death?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you get away with stuff, and you, like when you hear the song on the I put $1 billion on your head. Real kid, like you know, like and don't nobody want to kill nobody, and really don't let nobody know.
I mean, it's all f***ed up. It was a setup. It was a plot to my brother. I feel f***ed up about it.
This is a huge development, folks. According to 50 Cent, the FBI wasn't just watching Sean Diddy Combs for his recent crimes. They were quietly investigating him for something much darker, a trail of evidence that keeps pointing back to the murders of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. In this video, we're going to cover the latest revelations from people very close to everything. Diddy's former allies like Kirk Burrow and Gene Deal, plus Tupac's own family, his brother Mopreme and cousin Jamala Lessing, who were right in the middle of it all. Tupac and Biggie were once close friends. Both were rising superstars who changed hip-hop forever, but they were killed at the peak of their fame just 6 months apart. Now, people who were really there are finally speaking out. Tupac's cousin, former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry, ex-slap detective Greg Kading, and even a former Crips member are all telling parts of the same story. They say Tupac's death was planned by someone powerful. And according to Kirk Burrow, a co-founder of Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy was responsible for the shooting that took Tupac's life. For years, no one was charged, and it turned into an unsolved urban legend. People made documentaries and wrote long articles about the mystery. But now it looks like the FBI is finally getting close to answers.
That there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions. But most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, you know, the welfare of his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. You know, Tupac's on vinyl talking about kill kids when they grow up. And, you know, it's just, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. You know, that's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well, before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about
Sure.
for Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, you know, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. You know, it's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's the agreement amount was $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to Suge or Tupac?
Both
or
of
both.
them. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, you know, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the...
The dominoes started falling in 2023 when Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was indicted for Tupac's murder. Former Lapped detective Greg Kading said something chilling in a documentary. It's really Keefe D. and Puffy Combs who are the last men standing. In a recorded interview with investigators, Keefe D. made explosive claims. He said that about a year before Tupac's death, Diddy stood in a room full of Crips and openly said he wanted Tupac and Suge Knight dead. Keefe D. also claimed Diddy later offered $1 million to make it happen.
To Puffy, right? How do you feel about the rumor that Puffy, he gave a guy named Eric Von Zip a check for $1 million to give to Keefe D to kill Tupac?
I'm familiar with the story. I'm familiar with the dude. My man Big Psych, rest in peace, used to know that dude.
So you met Von Zip before. So how does that make you feel, man? Somebody that you met, and I'm sure that he knew that she was Tupac's brother. How does that make you feel knowing that he's the one that provided Keefe D with the gun to Tupac?
I mean, it's all f***ed up. It was a setup. It was a plot to my brother. I feel f***ed up about it. I don't know that nigga, but I ain't got no love for none of them. You know, straight up. It sounds like a typical plot. See, but considering who that guy is, to Puffy and to Keefy D, for it not to be addressed is weird. We will see.
Story doesn't stop there. Keef D also talked about a gun hidden in a car linked to Eric, Zip, Martin, a powerful figure with close ties to Diddy. Tupac's brother even said that both Zip and Diddy should have been investigated, especially if Zip handed the weapon to Keef D.
Deal, who was there to secure Puff, all the other warnings that we got, that we needed more security, the snafu in the business world came in like this. You have a budget for everything that you do. The budget for Big in LA for the awards show ended that Friday night, Saturday morning, when a new budget started to get him from LA to London, where he would be taken care of with security, his friends, and everyone that he wanted to be with him in the style that he was accustomed to handle the press junket. When that didn't happen, that budget was never opened, the budget for LA ended, and there was a great need for security that Saturday night, and he was out without that security. The beef up. And we lost him. And in that decision, what it put us in, that decision put us in the worst situation that we could have ever been in. We lost our number one talent. We're on a West Coast where we're surrounded by enemies who told us not to be here. We really shouldn't have been there, but we were.
Kirk Burroughs' journals are now very important. Just days before Tupac was killed, Burrough wrote that Diddy asked him to rent cars to drive from New York to Las Vegas for the fight. That request was strange. Flying would have been much easier and faster. But Burrough followed orders and wrote down every detail: dates, costs, routes. Those handwritten notes are now part of a documentary, and it looks like the FBI may be using them in their investigation into Diddy.
Physical evidence that Keefy D had something to do with Pac's death. There's circumstantial evidence. There's people that could probably testify on what somebody told them or heard. So now, Keefy D, lawyers and them did a great job when they did trial by judge. Because the judge is looking for physical evidence. What ties Keefy D to Puff? What ties Keefy D to the Tupac? And how could they prove that either one of them has something to do with it? Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. So, do they believe Keefy D? If he told a lot of different stories, you got to realize he may have told more than one or two stories, because he tell that story now. What about the stories he told prior to this? You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to look at that. You're going to look at, okay, did he get the money? Where's the money at? Who got the money? Who wrote the check? Who paid the money? Where did it come from? When did it come from?
Just after midnight, Biggie left a party. At a red light, a car pulled up next to him. Shots rang out. Biggie was hit several times and died soon after. He was only 24 years old. After Biggie's death, strange things started happening. Reports said Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy Records. Legal fights broke out over his music rights. Instead of honoring Biggie, Diddy started appearing on major magazine covers. Just 2 months later, Diddy released I'll Be Missing You. The song became a worldwide hit. His debut album went multi-platinum. Years later, Diddy even admitted that Biggie's death helped boost his own fame.
And Keefy D's claim was an informant in 1997 who told investigators that Puffy had hired the Southside Crips to both Suge and Tupac, and that the Crip who was jumped at the MGM was in the group that had done the hit, and that they originally were going to do it at Suge's Vegas nightclub, but then decided to do it right away instead of waiting. This was exactly the same story that Keefe D told us a decade later. Very few people know that immediately after Tupac is shot and that white Cadillac is fleeing, one of the death row entourage, a guy named Alton McDonald, known as Buntree, chases after the Cadillac, and a second shooting takes place between the two vehicles. Alton McDonald's car is struck. In fact, within the Las Vegas murder files, there's a document that indicates that Alton McDonald's car had been struck by a bullet that night.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said it was just Zip.
So the FBI told you the
said he
same
was
thing.
a dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you. You the last one to know everything, even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
Gene says Keefe D's defense is simple. He claims the reason Tupac was targeted goes straight back to Puff Diddy. There's no physical evidence putting Keefe D at the scene pulling the trigger. What exists are statements, second-hand stories, and claims about conversations that supposedly happened. That's why Keefe D's lawyers asked for a judge-only trial instead of a jury. A judge focuses on hard evidence, not emotional stories. So the big questions can't be ignored. What really connects Keefe D directly to Tupac's murder? For one thing, Keefe D himself has admitted parts of the story.
Pac had to fight with Orlando Anderson. He come upstairs to the hotel room. First of all, when we get to Vegas, right, he flipped on me. He like, yo, move. Cause I'm thinking when we get to Vegas, we're gonna turn up, it's gonna be all lit. But once we get there, he turned on me. Like, nah, Moo, I don't want you coming out. You and Kadada stay in the hotel and so forth. So I'm feeling the way. I'm like, oh, shit, ain't this, you know, like, how you gonna bring us out here? Now we gotta stay in our rooms. So I'm rebellious, right? So I'm being rebellious, right? So Pop comes in the room. He's talking about how he just knocked out some dude. I don't know who the dude is. I didn't know later that this is Orlando Anderson, the head of the Crip and all this crap. You know what I mean? So when Pop come in the room talking about it, I'm like, oh, word, say word, Pop. So he changed. That's when he changed from the orange button-up shirt that he had on, and he put on the green, like, basketball jersey type of shirt, right? So at this point, he's looking for the outlaws. He don't know where they at. And he's telling me and Kadada to chill in the room. That, you know, everybody is there outside, they wildin'. It's Robert Wayne time. And again, showing his protection for us, he recommend that we stay in the room. But I came out the room anyway and ran into Suge. And when I ran into Suge in the elevator, he in there with his girl, right? So I'm like, yo, Suge, I know you heard how Pop knocked out homie. And before I could say homie, Suge gave me the silent, he put the finger on his lips to silent me. So that already gave me like, oh, let me tone it down.
Says the only way this case really comes together is if someone takes the stand and says, I heard this conversation. I saw this money exchange. I know where the money came from. But that's not easy. Keefe D has told different versions of his story over the years. When someone changes details, every old statement gets questioned again. Prosecutors have to prove why this latest version is the one to believe. Gene says if investigators can show that money moved from Diddy through middlemen and reached Keefe Diddy, and if the people involved confirm it, then the whole picture changes. Gene has said for a long time that Diddy and Tupac were not on good terms. Tupac's cousin Jamala Lessing recently backed that up.
So we in the kitchen, and Pac is on the phone. I'm in the kitchen, Pac is in the kitchen, and the outlaws, everybody's scattered throughout the house, but Pac is on the phone, and this is what I seen with my own eyes. And Pac is going bananas, yo. He's wilding out. He's cussing out Death Row. Whoever, he didn't say, he just on the phone with somebody from Death Row camp. And he's going bananas. And all I hear him saying and screaming out is his masters, his masters. Yo, my brother's head was sweating. He had veins popping out his neck, his head. He was at 10. And at that moment, I was scared. You know why? Because I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out. You know what I mean? Because again, we're in California. We're around amongst people that we're not quite understanding their culture, their gang lifestyle and stuff. You know what I mean? Again, we're New Yorkers. I certainly don't understand it. So I was a little afraid, I must admit, and I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out, straight up.
And so when you see Tupac on the phone, had you ever seen him like that before?
No, not like that. Nope. Not like where his veins is popping out his neck and out his bald head. No. Not that angry. And that's what scared me, because of the anger, the rage that he was pouring out. You know what I mean? And it was like I was just standing there stiff. I didn't even want to walk past him while he's on the phone. It's like, let me just stand here until he get off the phone, because he was, like I said, he was at 10. And
now, more eyes than ever will be on Keefe D.S. trial in August. We'll be covering it here with all the latest updates. Will you be watching the trial? Let us know in the comments below.